So you planning on buying some long tube headers for your Ram, and you want to know what are the benefits and also, what are like the downfall of you adding some long tube headers on your Ram 1500. So I'm going to be giving you guys the pros and cons on you adding some long tube headers to your truck. What's up, guys? Happy Monday. Is the first day of the week. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, and it's a new week today. I'm going to be sharing with you guys what are the benefits of you installing some long tube headers, putting some long tube headers on your Ram, and what are like the downfall and stuff like that. So pretty much the pros and cons. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys that if you are thinking about getting some headers, or you done bought some headers and you haven't installed them on your truck yet, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of the good things about you adding some long tube headers to your Ram 1500. But if you guys are here for your first time, do me a huge favor. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and definitely subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, I would definitely appreciate that. So first thing we're going to talk about the good things first, and then after that we're going to talk about the cons and the bad things and stuff about installing long tube headers on your Ram 1500. So as you guys may know, if you are looking to add in long tube headers to your Ram 1500, so it offer the pros. Some of the things I'm going to highlight, some of the things that it really offer the most when you are adding long tube headers to these trucks. Number one, you're going to get an increase in your horsepower, especially like mid to like high RPM range and stuff like that. More aggressive sound. Pretty much you get a little bit better fuel efficient, like your fuel and stuff like that. Your gas mileage is going to increase a little bit. It's not really anything that's like huge, pretty much, but those are like the real highlighted parts on you getting some long tube headers. Now I'm gonna go deep down into details for you guys if you guys didn't catch all of that. So the pros, number one reason why most people want to get some long tube headers on these Ram 1500 is the fact that you're gonna get an increased horsepower and torque. So long tube header improve exhaust flow pretty much. If you guys don't know, mainly like the mid to high RPM, leading to you gaining a little bit more power. Nothing too crazy, but it's definitely noticeable power though. So on like the 5.7 Hemi, they gain about somewhere around like 30 to 35 horsepower and stuff like that. Those are like the common numbers, stuff like that I looked up, that I'm looking at right now. So you gaining somewhere around 30 to 35, which is not something bad. That's actually pretty good to have that much just from headers alone. That's a huge plus. Second reason gonna be aggressive exhaust sound. That's like I think this is like the biggest reasons why most people want to get some long tube headers, because of this right here. Like some people who really not into like performance wise and stuff like that, just want that real deep sound, that real aggressive sound. I feel like this is how I feel. I feel like adding a long tube headers to you doing just like my truck right now, just a muffler delete. It sounds good, but with the long tube headers added onto it, it's gonna sound way more aggressive, and that's the sound a lot of people want. Like it create much louder, and yes, it just sound a little bit more louder and deep and aggressive. That's like the sound a lot of people want to get out of it, and that's why they install the long tube headers. My third reason is you get a better engine efficiencies. I can't even say that effing word, but you guys get the point. And it improve your exhaust, can help the engine run more better pretty much. If you guys don't know, when you replace your stock exhaust manifold that's on each truck, they are about probably 5 inches long, somewhere around there, 4 inches long. And you'll see how bad of a design they are. And I can't believe that Ram or Dodge Ram decided to put something like this on a truck like this. And that's why a lot of people have issue with them over time. They rust up, the bolts and stuff break. You know, it causes a lot of issues. So that's why most of the time too, people want to upgrade to long tube headers. If you are going to upgrade your headers, do not go with shorty headers strictly, or go with the OEM, you know, exhaust manifold that they have on there. Just get yourself some long tube headers. Last but not least, my fourth reason on that is to improve longevity. Pretty much, you get a better exhaust flow, can reduce stress on the engine, also potentially extend the engine life pretty much and stuff like that. When you have, you know, when you add in like long tube headers compared to like the shorty the exhaust manifold that's on these trucks, how you guys see how they look, very restrictive coils. They coils tend to have issue over time, and that's like the reason why. That's 4 reasons right there is the best reasons why most people want to upgrade to, you know, long tube headers and stuff like that. Now, personally speaking, I feel like if you are planning on getting some headers and you already decide that you're going to go with long tube headers, that's a huge plus for you. You're going to gain, your truck going to gain some power, going to sound a lot better. Also, you are going to be thanking yourself in the long run and stuff like that by adding, you know, long tube headers and stuff. Definitely going to help your truck overall drive a lot better, sound a lot better. Now, what are the cons? What are like the bad things about, you know, installing these headers on these trucks? So obviously there's always like a good side and a negative side to when it comes to you doing anything, especially like installing you know, aftermarket parts on any vehicle at the end of the day. So, but I really will say though, there's more ups than down when you are installing, adding long tube headers to these trucks. I would definitely highly recommend, just because I'm about to tell you guys the cons of this. Don't let this disencourage you or something like that, make you feel like you don't want to add headers to your truck, especially too if you're doing the work yourself. So the next thing, my first thing is gonna be, from what I heard, is difficult to install. Now, from my perspective of how I've seen people installing before, depending on like, there's a lot of ways you can go about doing this. I've seen guys where they done took out the fender well and stuff like that on the driver passenger side to get to like the actual headers itself. You really could do that too, because there's a ton of space right there. Or you can pop the hood, do it that way too. But I've seen it done from that way. You know, like if you got your truck on like the stand or something like that, you take the tires off, take the wheel wells off. One person can be underneath. Another person can be on the driver's side or passenger side, trying to pretty much get the bolts in there to fit. And then second reason on this list is going to be potential for low end torque loss. That's what they said. While they increase mid to high range power, they can decrease low end torque compared to stock. Honestly, me personally, what I gotta say about that, send that shit. I wouldn't give a F about the low end torque, because the point of view is for your truck to gain more power and also sound a lot better. I think that's a more up for me than caring much about the low end torque, because you still, you know, your truck's still gonna have torque and stuff like that at the end of the day. But I just personally feel like that's not really like a big reason. But you know, some people, you never know, some people might care about stuff like that. Third reason is you get a louder operation, meaning that the aggressive sound might be a little bit undesirable for a daily driving. Honestly, like that sounds like some kind of caring person that want to say some shit like that, because the whole point of you installing long tube headers on your truck is for it to sound more aggressive, loud. Like, you see what I'm saying? Get more power out of your Hemi and stuff like that. Those are the 3 reasons for me. I ain't gonna lie. If you guys ever hear one of these things with long tube headers, exhaust, catless, cam, they sound super nasty. I'll tell you that. Super, super nasty. But once again, not everything for everybody. So if you one of them kind of guy where you don't like anything loud, aggressive, then maybe long tube headers not for you. You know, you can put your stock stuff back on. That's up to you. But next reason, legal and emission issue. In some states, yes. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not gonna give you advice on any of this, but all I can say is that, you know, that comes down to you. It's your vehicle at the end of the day. You get to do whatever you want to do with it. That's how I view mine. When I'm putting any kind of parts on my truck, that's exactly what come up in my mind and stuff like that. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. I'm about to go in to work. My break just in. I'll see you guys in a little bit so we can finish off what we were talking about. Guys, we are back and we are off work. So we back to talking about the pros and cons of you getting some long tube headers for your Ram. So I remember before I went back into work where I left off at. Hopefully it is where I left off. I remember, so I was on a downside, like the bad part about you having long tube headers. So the last thing I gotta say is, to be honest, the only bad thing I'll say for, I think I was on a con, or I was on the cons, I think, I forgot though. But so the bad thing about this, right, when you get some long tube headers, I wouldn't say it's really, I really wouldn't say it's a bad thing, because it's still going to be benefiting your truck at the end of the day. So you have to get, if you don't know, you cannot install just the long tube headers on these trucks and drive it like that. You have to get a custom tune. Custom tune is required for you to have your truck running right when you are getting long tube headers. Now, shorty headers, I think you will be fine, but I know long tube headers, especially too, if you are going catless to make your truck loud as hell, you're definitely going to be needing a custom tune to make everything run right and smooth on your truck. So now, I know I name a lot of good things and I name a lot of bad things also, but if you guys really think about it, right, like with the good and the bad about you installing, you know, long tube headers on these trucks, if you really think about it, like the bad things that I mentioned, it's still really, it's the upside to it for these trucks right here. Like, for example, like I stated that you can't really get long tube headers for these trucks only if you also going to be getting like a custom tune, which is also a good thing, because from my understanding, the Ram trucks run a whole lot. These trucks run super nice on custom tune. Like, even just by you getting a custom tune, which is what I'm planning on doing shortly with this truck, it's gonna run a whole lot better. Right now I'm just running regular 87 gas on here. Ram, for like the Hemis and stuff, if you guys don't know, you supposed to be putting 89. 89 is what, like, it's the gas that's really good for like the 5.7 Hemi, and that's what really have these trucks really driving like the way it's supposed to be running. So if you guys don't know, if you don't have a custom tune, or if you plan on getting long tube headers for your truck, I would highly recommend, when you do get a custom tune, get a custom tune to where you can also run a higher gas, which is the 89. Right now my truck is on 87, so when I do add my custom tune to this truck, I'm going to be running 89. But if you guys are really planning on getting yourself some long tube headers, I highly recommend, like, it's really, got to understand, like, at the end of the day, whatever, when you modify anything, at the end of the day, you got to understand it's always going to be some kind of downside to it. Like, I really don't really try to pay too much attention to that, or especially if it's something that you really want to do. You know, it's your vehicle at the end of the day. It's going to make you happy. You know, go for it and do it. Don't let somebody else try to get you from not doing it. Like, I'll be honest with you guys, man, when I decided to put the coilovers on these trucks, I remember the place I bought it from online, and I was talking to one of the guys on there. I ain't gonna say no name, but they told me, like, this, you know, something that's gonna be kind of hard to do. I shouldn't do it, this and that, a third. But we end up putting it on there, and the truck been running a lot better, and there's no issue at all. I'll be honest, we got no issue. Fully adjustable front coils on here. from Beltec. And one thing I can say, I definitely do not regret doing any of that. But it's just one of them things at the end of the day. If you're going to get some headers, like long tube headers or headers in general, just get yourself some long tube headers. Don't try to listen to what anybody say. Me personally, my advice I can tell you guys is do your research. Once you do your research on something, if you really want it done to your car, truck at the end of the day, do it. As long as it's going to be safe, it'll be fine. I had to sit in the vehicle because it is kind of chilly outside. Like, you'll be cool though. It's not anything for you to really be worried about, or like me personally, I just do stuff that I know for a fact. At the end of the day, my any car I drive, I like to modify them, car, bike, whatever that's now. I like adding mods and stuff to it, especially if I don't care like what somebody think or whatever. Like, when you modifying a car, you're gonna be ruining it, this and that, there. But at the end of the day, you are bettering your truck, car. At the end of the day, to be able to drive great, way more better than how it was. And long tube header is one of them things where I feel like there is some negative side to it, but if you really think about it, like the fitment issue, it requiring you to have a custom tune, all that stuff is really like not really like a big deal, because there's ways around it, and then also you pass the inspection depending on your state. But it's really like, the way I look at it is it's really not a bad thing. I'll be honest, there's really no bad side to it, because I personally think that if I was Dodge or Ram, whatever, they should have just put long tube headers in these trucks from the jump, because the stock exhaust manifold that's on these trucks, they always tend to have issue later on down the line. You're going to have to replace them regardless. Mine haven't got to that point yet, but I'm planning on doing it. Plan on getting the parts and stuff, like, just so when that time comes, I can be ready for it. But right now, man, we give you guys a little update. My goal right now, this is the last month of the year, y'all. This year been a pretty crazy year, in a good way, in a little bit of a bad way. But one thing I can say, 2026, man, I'm stacking up a ton of parts for this truck right now, because I'm planning on getting a lot of stuff done to this truck. And one of my biggest thing right now, man, I ain't gonna lie to you guys, that I've been dreaming about when I go to sleep, I wake up, it's up here on my mind, is having this truck sounding super good, such as adding a custom cam, long tube headers, pretty much no cats, and cuts. Like, this truck gonna be rowdy as hell, I'm telling you guys, man. And I mentioned to you guys already who I'm gonna get the custom cam from. Pretty much they have, it's gonna be a whole kit. Gonna get the cam, gonna get I might go somewhere else to get the custom tune from there, but it's gonna be the cam, the converter itself, and this is a whole kit pretty much. That way I don't have to try to source anything else. They do offer custom tune, but the only thing is, I'm just trying to go somewhere else local next to me that could be able to, help me out and make things a little bit more easier for me and stuff like that. But 2026 is gonna be a crazy epic year, man. I'm telling you guys, if you guys still watching, supporting the channel, I definitely appreciate that, because this truck is gonna be seeing a whole lot more stuff, man. I'm telling you guys, a whole lot more stuff. I'm just right now stacking up on a lot of parts that I'm getting for this truck. 2026 is gonna be the year where it's gonna be a lot of stuff getting done. But if you're one of them guys, you plan on getting some long tube headers for your truck, or headers in general, stop second guessing yourself. Get them damn headers, put that on your truck. You're gonna be happy. I'm telling you, you're gonna be happy with the sound, the performance. Your truck gonna drive a whole lot better. Don't let the negative stuff, the downside about you having long tube headers and stuff get to your head. But if you're gonna get headers in general for these trucks, strictly do not go with any shorty headers. Just strictly buy long tube headers. But with that being said, I'm about to end this video today. You guys do me a favor, if you are still watching, if you haven't subscribed already, click that like and click that subscribe button. Close to hitting 10K on YouTube. I would definitely appreciate it. I see you guys in the next one. Take care. Stay safe. Peace out.